So we're talking managed cloud as a service, and you're essentially making it easy for the customer because you're handling the traditional licensing arrangement. So it's not like it's all like newfangled, no license stuff, but you're hiding that from the customer essentially.
Yeah.
Is that?
I mean, traditionally what SAP and others have done is they are an asset-focused licensing organization. They want the customer to come in, buy the license, run it, operate it in their facilities. In the MCAS model, we're just actually acquiring the license on behalf of the customer. We're putting it into our, we're contracting for it. We're managing and doing all the auditing of the licenses, and the customer really never has to think about it.
Now, you told me that you guys not only learn about this, but you actually have two of the bigger MCAS transactions, I guess, that have taken place. So tell us about that. Tell us about how you won over the customer and why were they so interested in this?
Yeah, so we have two very unique examples of MCAS customers, very different. One was a very large organization that really started out as purely wanting to platform on a new platform. They had come into the US, they had acquired multiple companies. All these companies were on different systems, and they basically wanted to create a technology foundation with SAP for all those companies. And what they started to see was not only could they work with us to provide that foundation, but they could actually leverage our capabilities and skills to run that IT service for them, which then migrated to some of the services from an application standpoint that we provide, from supporting the business all the way up to BPO services. So that was a classic example of a net new customer looking at SAP and saying, we like the platform, but we also want to embrace all the run the business services around SAP. And so we were able to provide them a end-to-end service, start to finish. The second example customer that we contracted with actually had an existing large SAP license. Through some financial challenges, through some divestitures, that license decreased substantially to a point where they no longer needed that large of an SAP footprint. And we were able to come in and through the cancellation of that license and then a rebuy through HCL, we were able to save them significant dollars and then provide all the run the business services around the ongoing operations.
Were they a little surprised to hear this was even an option? I mean, when you pitched it to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think and I think to SAP's credit, they understood that the organization was truly overbuilt in their licenses, and they were having significant heartburn around how much they were paying for SAP. So I think this was a model that I think SAP obviously, or this was a customer that SAP felt they had to address this issue with them. And so I think the customer was surprised, but I think they were relieved that through the partnership with HCL and SAP, they were able to reduce their costs overall and get to a point where they had a license that really supported their business, not overbuilt.
So this in theory could include a HANA offering if you wanted to, but it's not at all limited to HANA. You could do a lot of other stuff with MCAS as well.
Yeah, no, I mean these were core ERP and industry solutions from SAP with some HANA built into it. But these were just the core day-to-day applications that SAP's always been known to deliver to the market.
Yep. So you and I talked before we started filming just about challenges around becoming a cloud provider. SAP proclaims itself as a cloud company now, but that has profound implications, right, for the ecosystem also. Like, how does the ecosystem embrace this and essentially find success, financially in this kind of cloud market?
So I think for us, we've never looked at the licensing side of SAP as a revenue engine. For us, it's all about providing value in that one seamless, integrated service offering to the customer. So I think from our standpoint, MCAS is absolutely the right approach for us because we're not trying to resell the product to make substantial margin on it. We're really trying to provide an all-in service to the customer. I think some of the challenges that I see SAP having in the mid-market space is that the barriers to entry to things like MCAS and the reseller program are quite costly. For a small organization to spend $500,000 to actually become part of the MCAS program is somewhat prohibitive.
Right. So essentially you have to find some ways of making the costs a little more like what the customer experiences on their end, kind of that pay-as-you-go subscription type model needs to really get baked into the whole scenario across the board.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's the reseller program or the MCAS model, I mean, I think the margins are very slim.
Yeah. So you're not looking like MCAS is like, oh, this is a great new revenue road for me, but it is an important aspect of your customer relationships, and that's sort of the key to have those relationships.
Yeah, I mean, I've met with CIOs around the country who, one CIO from a very large organization told me he never wanted to buy a piece of licensed software ever again.
Yeah.
So, the model moving forward has to be options for, some type of cloud offering, and even to the point of, a hybrid mix where some of these large customers still have that asset, that SAP license asset in-house, but everything that they're buying from here on out is in a cloud.
There was some honesty on the keynote stage today from a couple SAP folks. One of them said, hey, if we could sell software the way we've been doing it for the last 40 years, we'd still be doing it.
Yep.
But customers want something different. And I guess what I hear you saying is that you're evolving to offer that, and that's sort of the point.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're starting to almost 80 to 90% of our classic SI transactions that we used to do. We started off implementing large transformational systems at customers. We would come in, implement them, hand them the keys, and walk away.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's how they wanted it.
Right.
Now we're starting to see almost every single customer ask us to stay in some capacity to support an IT type service of running the business to all the way through to providing those key skill sets to manage the application, whether it's somebody that has deep SAP financial skills that can do configuration and regulatory changes if it's a regulated utility. So we're starting to see our relationship with the customer morph into more of a service-based relationship than a one-off implementation, walk out the door and leave and come back in a couple years when they're ready to do something else.
Big changes and fodder for future conversations as well. Thanks for taking the time.
Appreciate you having me.